This is Aaron Sheik. You're listening to another wrestling podcast.
And go fuck yourself.
It's time for another wrestling podcast.
All right. Welcome to another WrestleMania special. This is episode 186. I'm your Mark of Mark's Credo.
I'm Minority Mike.
And I'm the social assassin, Angry Cooter, bitches.
Well, guys, big show today. Not the usual show for us. I mean, it's going to be another wrestling podcast, but we got to talk about our WrestleMania predictions, our NXT predictions, the biggest weekend. There's a lot of other stuff happening. Last week, we talked about all the other shows. This week, we're talking about WWE. Speaking of E's, Robbie E is going to be joining us on the show in a little bit, so stay tuned for that. We're going to be talking about what he's up to this weekend. But more importantly, guys, I mean, let's get right into it. This is WrestleMania. Are you guys excited? Are you ready for it?
I'm already tired. I am literally exhausted,
Tuesday.
and we haven't even gotten through the week yet, and then the independent shows are starting. On paper, I'm going to say right now, this is the first year that on paper the card looks like probably one of the best cards in WrestleMania history, in my opinion. And then you have NXT TakeOver, which looks like an amazing card, but they always have amazing cards. But this is the first time that, WrestleMania might actually, look just as good as NXT.
No, for sure. I think last year I was kind of bitter about the card. I mean, it was all right, but this year I'm like, all right. I mean, we'll talk about it, but Daniel Bryan, that's a big seller right there. I mean, his return match after 3 years or so. I mean, that sells tickets right there, let alone. So I'm enjoying it. I think we talked earlier about, Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, but then we get all this other good stuff on the show, so I'm excited.
I'm trying to remember the last time I've actually looked forward to a WrestleMania card. Last year's was trash. And I think the year before was the one where they were plagued by God knows how many injuries. And,
Dallas.
Yes. And that was like the big show. The
First WrestleMania ever, too.
Oh, well, it's up there. I wouldn't say the worst, but it's up there. I really got to think back, maybe even WrestleMania 20 or WrestleMania 18, where I was like, damn, I'm really looking forward to this card. But I'm hopeful. I just have a feeling on paper it looks great, and I'm just worried because whenever something looks great on paper, it usually ends up being the drizzling shits. And that's why I love the NXT card. Usually because it doesn't look all that great on paper. But those are the ones that always deliver. So I'm sticking with Old Faithful at NXT, baby.
No, for sure. So, I mean, you just said it right there. NXT, we have a lot to talk about, ladies and gentlemen. AnotherWrestlingPodcast.com. If you never heard us before, head on over there. Like us, follow us, subscribe to us, leave us some reviews, rate us, and all that fun stuff. But, guys, NXT... let's get right into it. Starting from the bottom, working our way to the top, we're going to have an NXT Tag Team Championship match. The Undisputed Era versus the Authors of Pain versus Roderick Strong and Pete Dunne. Guys, Tag Team Championship match. Now, I know we had a bit of an injury to where the beauty of television, to where it happened a few weeks ago, but they haven't really seen it on TV till recently. With Bobby Fish injured, who's probably going to be out for about 6 months or so. So this could be changing up what we're going to see this weekend. But overall, is the Undisputed Era walking out champions? I don't think so. I think, could we see a Pete Dunne and Roderick Strong walk out as tag team champions? I don't know. I think that's what's needed in this. I think they need something like that, especially for Strong. Pete Dunne, the UK champion. Hey, just give him another championship, I guess, added to his waist, right?
Oh, are you going to be all right with a UK guy holding an American tag team title from NXT, Credo?
Oh, don't get me started because we have the North American Championship, which I have a lot to say about. But I'll be okay with it. I mean, we need something. This guy needs something because right now he's just holding a paperweight, as far as I'm concerned, because it has nothing to do with anything the UK. But anyway.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a good match. I think Roddy and Pete Dunne is the way to go. I think Authors of Pain are moving up to the main roster. And with Bobby Fish nursing that injury, I think it's the smart move. It's the safe bet. So if we're placing bets, Credo, I'm going with that. And I think these two down the road will separate and it'll be even more compelling of a storyline.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the injury WWE announced about Bobby Fish being injured, torn ACL out for 6 months. So it leaves a question mark right now. I mean, if you guys are listening to this now, as we haven't watched NXT yet, so it's leaving a question mark on what's going to happen with authors or with Undisputed Era. Excuse me. Who knows? I mean, I think regardless, you're going to have a great match, even if you just take out Undisputed Era and you have a a tag team match, one-on-one tag teams. I think you got Roddy Strong and Mr. Pete Dunne taking the belts.
Yeah, I think we're all on the same page with that. But Mike, what can you tell us about this unsanctioned match happening? Because Johnny Gargano is no longer an NXT superstar, if you will, but he's going to be facing Tommaso Ciampa.
This match has been brewing up since May. I remember when I was in Mexico on vacation and I was watching NXT TakeOver on my iPad as I was getting ready, and I saw the turn from Ciampa, and I just envisioned in my head how amazing this rivalry would be. Granted, the injury happened, but they did a great job building the story without Ciampa or Gargano even having any type of contact. I think this match is going to be the best match on the card. Hands down, that's my opinion. This is the match of the night right here. If Gargano wins, I believe the stipulation is he gets his job back.
Yes,
if
sir.
he loses, he is no longer part of NXT. I think Gargano gets his redemption. But the videos they've been doing, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the video that Ciampa posted last week. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning and Gargano was banging on his door at his house. I mean, they've been doing a lot of stuff not on TV, just on social media, where Ciampa's at physical therapy and Gargano's outside being escorted out by security. They are going all out with this rivalry, and I love it. And I think this is going to be the match, probably the match of the weekend. And WrestleMania is a great card, but this might be the match that steals the entire weekend.
Yeah, I got to agree, man, because the build up to this has been amazing. And what I liked was when Regal last week on NXT said that, you know, there's only one thing he can do. He has to put him in a match against Tommaso with that stipulation. And it's basically saying, Tommaso, you kind of did this to yourself, and I think you're man enough to either get him out of here for good. And it's like usually when you get the heel and you force them into the match like that, they bitch and they complain. But Tommaso was like, okay, I got this. I'm going to have to do what I got to do. You know, I put myself in this situation. And I like that build a hell of a lot better as opposed to your typical baby face and the whiny heel. So they're making Tommaso look like, you know what? I got some balls, and I'll take care of this myself.
No, for sure. Just to play devil's advocate, I'll probably have to say Gargano loses, just to maybe mix up the landscape after WrestleMania, see if he moves up. But it would be an interesting or funny storyline to where if Gargano moves up, Tommaso follows him and stalks him and does something like that just to add for the effect. So I'm going to probably say Tommaso is going to win this, but unsanctioned it is. We'll see what happens. Moving right along, guys. We have the NXT Women's Championship, Ember Moon versus Shayna Baszler, who made my list. Now, guys, this MMA thing, I guess you can call it. We got Ronda Rousey on the main roster. We got Shayna Baszler on NXT. At first, I wasn't a fan. I'm not a fan. She's still on my list, but I'm still. I like her character. It's different than all the other women right now in NXT, Shayna. So I give her kudos for that. As far as the wrestling goes, she needs to stay in NXT a little bit longer. As far as beating Ember Moon this weekend, I don't know. I think it's too soon in my books. I think it's too soon. I'm a pay your dues kind of guy, and I want to see somebody actually earn that championship. I want to see them work for it. I don't want to see them just come in and take it and yada yada yada. So Ember Moon has worked her way up, losing to Asuka how many times just to win it eventually, but. I don't know. I see Ember Moon at the end of the day winning this. I think this feud will continue to where maybe we'll see Shayna win it maybe around SummerSlam. But as for now, guys, I don't know. For me, I'm thinking Ember Moon retains on this one.
I got to disagree with you. I think she's made a hell of a lot of strides from her time in the Mae Young Classic as opposed to the in-ring work on the NXT shows now. She's way better on the mic. Her in-ring work has been way better. She's really impressed me. And you know what? I was one of those people who was a real big hater on Shayna Baszler during the Mae Young Classic because a lot of her matches were the drizzling shits. I got to tilt my hat to the girl. I think she takes it. I think Ember's ready for the main roster. I think they're going to move her up too. And you're going to have a Queen of Spades running the show in the women's division in NXT.
I think that title needs a bully. So I'm going to agree with Cooter. I think Shayna Baszler takes that belt. One, because they need a heel with that title, and two, because that's Ronda's girl. And I think she gets the belt just because it's Ronda's girl.
All right. I'm one of those guys. You got to pay your dues, but I hear you.
Still a hater. You're a hater.
She's on the list.
You got to remember. You got to remember it's NXT. It's developmental.
Yeah.
You know what, Credo? I got to say, if Shayna Baszler had worked with your wife at Home Depot, she wouldn't be on the list.
I don't know about that, maybe. But guys, this match is really intriguing because it's the NXT North American Championship. Now, I don't want to get too much into it, but off the top, I just want to take a little. I want to take a little vote, guys. When I say North American, what's the first thing that pops in your head, just off the top? Like, what stands out to you when I just say North American? It's not wrestling related. Just when I say North American, what stands out to you?
Mexico.
You son
Trump.
of a bitch, you know. North American.
After people are here now anyway. What difference does it make?
North American. Like, am I the only one that thinks of America when you say North American? I mean, okay, so hear me out. When they introduced the North American Championship, I wasn't thinking North America, the continent. I was thinking of fucking the United States. In my mind, I thought they were going to make this championship like the United States Championship, just calling it the North American Championship. Anyway, there's a whole other debate. We're going to get into that one. But the North.
Wait a minute. If Puerto Rico is a commonwealth of the United States, is Puerto Rico like on the title? What about like the island of Samoa or Hawaii? Or is Japan considered? Oh, let's not get into that. We know how Credo feels about it.
You can't see Mexico on the title because Trump built the damn wall, and it's not going to be on the fucking title.
I love the belt. I saw a picture. If that's the real picture, I think it's cool.
But does anybody ever say like, "Hey, I'm from Calgary, Alberta, Canada, North America"?
Yeah, your buddy Bret Hart.
Or Tijuana, Mexico, North America. Nobody ever says that. To me, I was just thinking of the United States. But anyway, it's the North American continent.
How many people say they're from North America, Credo? Again, you're being coy, as our boy would say. You're being coy.
Stop with the words. We got to look up online to know the meaning. Anyway, the North American Championship. It's a ladder match, guys. We're gonna have to have the great North American debate on another show. That'll be definitely something to tune in for. I'll get all the hate mail as usual. But ladder match. I'm
a Rick Malvey guy. That's right. I'm a Rick Malvey guy. You're coy, Credo.
There you go. Adam Cole versus Velveteen Dream versus Killian Dane versus Lars Sullivan versus Ricochet versus EC3. Guys, now what's unique about this match is that we haven't really seen EC3 wrestle in NXT now, not years ago, but we haven't seen Ricochet do much anything except for some promos. Lars Sullivan is a beast. Killian Dane still wandering around NXT. The Velveteen Dream and Adam Cole. This is going to be great. I think this is going to be the match of the night, in my opinion. We haven't even seen it yet, but I'm going for this as the match of the night. But one guy has to walk out the winner, guys. In me, you're going to be surprised, but I think they're going to give it to the Velveteen Dream, believe it or not. I think giving it to him might be unique. I think giving it as a heel for the first for the first champion. I don't know. I think this would be something that I would want to see. Ricochet be too soon. EC3 too soon. Even though I wouldn't mind if they won either. But at the end of the day, I'm going to say VD wins.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to put it on Killian Dane because he's not from North America. He's from Scotland. And yeah, no. But you know what? I could see them maybe throwing it on your boy there from Undisputed. I don't know. I think he needs to. Yeah, Adam Cole needs a strap, baby. I think with his recent matches and even his performance in the Rumble after a night in NXT, this guy's proven that he can carry a title, and I think he could put some prestige on that to be the first person to hold it. Mm-hmm. That's the way I'd go.
Adam Cole is a suitable contender to have that title. I think EC3, just the cockiness and the arrogance is great. I don't see a guy like Ricochet winning. I honestly see segueing away from this match a feud between Ricochet and the Velveteen Dream, because Velveteen Dream put out that post on Twitter like a month ago about how all these indie talents and indie darlings are coming in and taking spots. So I could see that rivalry happening.
Wasn't he an indie talent? That's what drives me nuts. He's from Maryland Championship.
Yes and no. Yes and no. He did Maryland Championship Wrestling with limited experience, and he was only doing that for like maybe a month or two, and then that's when he tried out for Tough Enough. And so he pretty much went through the breeding system at WWE. So
oh yeah, this is one of those matches where Ricochet is going to be one of those show stealers, if you will. Just the shit that he does is incredible. So, but yeah, I could see saying too soon for him, but man, I'm interested. But the belt, man, Cooter, did you really like it? It looks like a boxing belt to me. I don't know. When I see it, it just says boxing.
That's why I agree with you. It does look like a boxing title.
It's different, but yeah.
And because it looks that way, it's very different than your typical WWE titles. I mean, because the tag titles, very round looking, but they don't have that boxing look to them. Where like the men's and women's main titles are a little more rectangular. That's what I like about these NXT titles, all of them. They all look very, very different, from the men's title to the women's title. And now this North American title, it looks very cool looking, very different. I'm not going to be one of those, that belt looks like shit, and it's North America, like, really? I'm not going to be that guy. We'll save that for the host of the show. Send all your hate mail, tweet at.
I like to stir that pot out there. You never know what I really like out there. But I'm surprised with the red. I feel like that's too Universal Championship, but I don't know. That's just being nitpicky, I guess. But the North American Championship, interesting way to debut the belt NXT this weekend. So we'll see what happens with that. But guys, bringing us to the championship, Andrade Cien Almas, champion versus Aleister Black. At one point, I didn't know why they were giving it to Cien Almas. But, he's good with a manager. He's good having somebody else as a mouthpiece for him. Him doing his own promo is not so much. Aleister Black, the guy's red hot. Now, I'm kind of curious, because this match, I'll tell you what, if Aleister Black doesn't win, I say they're shooting him up to the main roster kind of a thing. If he does win, he's going to stay champion for a long time, I believe. So it's a 50-50 because he's just, his character is just one of those things to where, man, we just bring him up, put him up on the main roster. We need something like this, but at the same time, it's like get that belt off Cien Almas and give it to Aleister Black kind of deal. So it's going to keep you guessing. It's keeping me guessing. I hope Aleister Black wins, but I also hope he moves up to the main roster. So I don't know. Guys, Cien Almas or Aleister Black?
Cien Almas. Andrade is my dude with the beautiful Zelina Vega. My God. His in-ring work since day one has done nothing but impress me. And let me tell you something. If Aleister Black moves up to the main roster, he's going to sink like you wouldn't believe, because that boy cannot cut a promo for shit. That's somebody who still needs more time down in NXT to develop his promo skills, because he's fucking terrible. And it's because of the character, I feel, that they have him doing. He hasn't quite found the niche on how to cut the promo with that, but I digress from my point. This is going to be an awesome match because both of them are incredible in the ring. They haven't touched, I don't believe, yet. I don't think they've ever
wrestled.
had a match.
Yeah,
they did wrestle. Okay.
At an NXT TakeOver.
Wasn't that? I do believe that was Alistair's first match, too, wasn't it?
It was his debut.
Yes, okay. So we haven't seen that for a while. But if I remember correctly, that match was pretty fucking awesome. So these two in a championship match where there's more on the line and you're going to get more time, I think could potentially be a show stealer.
All right.
I want to see Cien Almas retain. I do. But I think they're going to go with Aleister Black. And with that being said, I am so concerned for Cien Almas simply because if he's getting that call up to the roster, I am concerned for him because the way Vince likes to book these NXT guys, Cien Almas is the type of guy that I don't see him as a comedy act. I don't see him as Los Boricuas. I don't see him stereotyped like that. So I hope, even if he does lose the title, I hope they keep him on the NXT roster for a little longer. I just don't want to see him. I would love to see him go up to the main roster. Don't get me wrong, but I don't want to see him with how Vince and Mr. Dunn like to book talent. With a guy like Aleister Black, I think he has a great future on the main roster. I think he's going to be the next, what Bray Wyatt was supposed to be, the next Undertaker. Yeah. With his entrance and his dark and all that stuff. Maybe instead of cutting promos, you just don't cut promos. Maybe they could actually try that for once. Keep them silent.
Yeah. No, it is interesting. Regardless, though, the NXT though, I'll tell you what, this is probably the first time in a few years. I think it's going to be a great show, but I don't know. I'm thinking the main roster might beat NXT this year. Now, I say that now, but, when we're sitting for 7 hours watching the main card and we come back and we only had to watch this one for like 2 or 3 hours, it's like, oh, wow, it was such a relief. But still, I don't know. I think this year, Mania, in my mind, I'm looking more forward to Mania this year than NXT, even though I think it's still going to be a good show. Guys, though, we have joining us, though, right now, we're going to find out what he's doing this weekend, Robbie E. All right, joining us tonight, we have Robbie E. Robbie, how's it going, man? How's everything down your way?
Hey, it's going good, but is that it? Just, hey, Robbie E., no former X Division champion, 2-time tag champ, former television champ, at one time the greatest hair in pro wrestling, dad bod destroyer, men's fitness. I mean, bro, come on.
I knew that was going to, hopefully that was there for me, so I was banking on that one. But, man, thank you so much for joining us, man. So I want to get right into it because, we're on another wrestling podcast, but you have just dived into the podcast realm itself. Why it ended on MLW. Can you tell everybody out there what's going on? Because you're breaking iTunes charts and everything right now. You're all over the place.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on, man. I do appreciate it because I definitely am trying to spread the word about this podcast. So basically, when I left Impact Wrestling, I obviously had more free time on my hands. So what does every wrestler do when they have free time on their hands? They start a freaking podcast. But then I pulled back on the idea a little bit because I didn't want people to get the wrong idea to think that I was done being an active wrestler because I kind of felt like hosting a podcast and maybe it means I'm done. I don't know. I was just sour on it for a few months, even though I really liked the idea that I had. But anyway, then I hooked up with Court Bauer. I spoke to him. I told him about my idea, and he loved it. And by him loving it, it kind of gave me a second win that I said, you know what, I'll give this thing a shot. Being on the MLW network, I mean, it's a pretty big platform for wrestling podcasts, so I'm glad it's there. And basically the concept is just, why it ended. It's kind of just why did it end for a lot of wrestlers. I want to get guys on with stories where everyone doesn't know their story. So whether it's a guy that had a 3-month run or a 2-week run or a 1-year run in 91 or whatever, just people when you hear their name, you kind of say, holy shit, I forgot about that guy. So, they're not really on the indie circuit. They're not hitting conventions. They've kind of vanished. And I think that's intriguing to people a little bit because they're actually hearing stories that they don't know. Because I find it that a lot of wrestlers are just on a lot of the podcasts telling the same stories. And don't get me wrong, I'm guilty of it also. I find myself telling the same story. So what I'm trying to bring is just a little something different. You know what I'm saying?
No, for sure. And I think that's what's great about it. For us, we don't have the wrestler experience, if you will. You know, we're fans of the sport, so we try to do what we can. But, I mean, Why It Ended, I think, is a great name and a great way to break into the podcast realm, because it is different, and that's what people love. But I gotta ask you, is it easy as a pro wrestler to talk to the other wrestlers? I mean, since you kind of know what they've gone through, and it's just maybe there's stuff that you know about that we don't know about, and maybe it's just easier for you to ask them?
Yeah, you know, I think it is, and I think that's why guys, because, you know, someone else had asked me in another interview that I did, you know, based on what the show's about, do you think guys, you know, might not want to be on? As anyone said no, based on it's talking about, like, why their careers ended. But I think they feel comfortable talking to me because I am a fellow wrestler and I understand. And what I want everyone to know is we're not trying to put anyone on this that doesn't have a happy ending, because everyone that's on our podcast telling their story is in a positive, happy place now. So no matter what it is that they're doing, you know, it's not a story where the podcast's going to end and you're going to say, man, I feel bad for that guy. It's, you know, that whatever they're doing now in their life, they're happy about. But also what I do want it to do for a lot of these good guys, even though they are in good places, they still on the weekends might want a booking or two. So I think for a lot of these names that are going to resurface, it's going to help them get some show and convention bookings and some Twitter followers out of it. So, you know, it's helping me have a great podcast, it's helping the fans get great stories, and it's helping the guys that are on it get their names back out there.
No, definitely. And before everybody waits to the end for a plug or whatnot, but where can people, you know, subscribe, download, and listen to this before we keep going?
Well, I mean, it's you could go to whyitended.com and get it, or, of course, it's on iTunes and, you know, pretty much wherever you can get any podcast, it's there. But I do ask guys, when you listen to it, if you like it, leave feedback, give a 5-star review, write a review, freaking follow us on Twitter at Why It Ended, follow us on Instagram at Why It Ended, and now we even have a YouTube page that you could subscribe to, Why It Ended. So hit all those up.
No, definitely. You mentioned you've been out of TNA for a little bit, but you're still competing. You're still out there. Can you tell us what have you been up to since leaving TNA? Just maybe what's happening outside of the TNA world.
Well, I mean, I'm 34. I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm still actively wrestling all around the world. You know, I'm booked 2 to 4 times a week. You know, so I'm definitely still wrestling a few weeks. I got a few times a week, excuse me. I got international stuff coming up. But, you know, I do want to land myself wrestling somewhere full-time again, signed to a contract. Where that is, I don't know. But I think in 2018, you know, you are going to see Robbie E on your TV screens again. I just don't know where yet.
For sure.
But then, of course, you know, in addition to that, I'm also doing... I mean, it just doesn't end for me. Whether it's Mondays, I have Dad Bod Destroyer on Muscle and Fitness. Tuesdays, I have a show called The Real Robbie E on Fight TV. Wednesdays, the podcast. And then Thursdays, I have on Men's Fitness a little video called Back to the Basics where I do a fitness video. So I got a lot of stuff going on that's keeping me busy.
Nice. Well, taking over the world one project at a time. It's great that you're busy. I love seeing you. I love all the videos that you post. Really quick about the Dad Bod Destroyer. Everybody listening out there, for Muscle and Fitness Magazine, what's going on with this? You're working out with your kids. Basically, for all the dads out there too, listening to where maybe giving excuses why we can't work out because we have kids around now. Just briefly again, you know, just tell everybody what you're doing. It's hashtag Dad Bod Destroyer too on Twitter. You can follow all the stuff that's going on with Robbie E. But tell us briefly, what are you doing with your kids again?
Well, basically, it started out as kind of a joke, and it still kind of is. Some people, you know, might look at the videos just to be entertained, or you could actually, you know, do the real workouts that I'm doing with my kids. But basically, you got a 20-pound dumbbell, a 20-pound barbell, or you got a 20-pound baby. So while you're playing with your kids, you could squat them, you could shoulder press them, you could curl them, you could use your kid as a dumbbell, get a workout in, and then you're spending father-son or father-daughter time, and the kids love it. They love getting thrown up in the air. You know, it's like you're playing with them, but you're actually getting a pump in. And it sounds silly, but I promise you, give it a try, and you'll actually be like, wow, this is actually a real workout.
No, definitely. And now I feel like you matured as a different Robbie E, I think, in the past few years than when you first came in. Is that fair to say? How maybe you evolved as Robbie E, the wrestler?
I was going to say, do you mean the wrestler or do you mean real life? Because I know I matured in my real life.
Well, I mean, we toned the hair down a little bit, right, from the big hair days, from early TNA days. But I mean, just as your character too, you definitely, I don't know, you seem like you're the junior or the senior class version as opposed to like the freshman of Robbie E starting. Do you feel that way?
I agree with you. I mean, times change. It gets played out. Jersey Shore is kind of fading. It was time to cut the hair. You're only going to be taken so serious when you got blonde highlights and a hair about 7 feet high, like Kid from Kid in a Play. So I had to change things up a little bit in my look. So I definitely did get more serious and evolve, and I think I'm still doing that. And I think it was cool for the fans to see a different side of me. And listen. Wrestling's about confidence inside and outside of the ring, and I'm a very confident person. And, I'm proud to say that I could be a very funny guy or I could be a very serious guy in the ring, and that I am a good wrestler. I think a lot of people forget that I am actually talented and could go in the ring when I have to. So I like showing different sides of myself and doing different things. But, yeah, towards the end of my Impact run, I would agree with you. I guess I'm more of a junior or senior now as opposed to, the dork going into high school, not knowing what he's doing.
No, definitely. Now, do you see yourself, too, because I know you said you have a lot of bookings happening now, but do you see yourself giving advice to guys maybe on things that maybe you wish you were told coming up in the business, just where you are with your career right now?
Oh, totally. Yeah, if someone's nice and they seem like they have a positive attitude, I always want to help. The problem in wrestling in 2018 is a lot of guys just in a short period of time being in the business, and who knows if it's their fault or not, whether it's how they're trained or what, but a lot of guys just think they know everything, and it's kind of what, in my opinion, is certainly not helping wrestling. But when guys are willing and they do want to learn, and I love helping out and giving advice because I love wrestling so much. I hate to see people doing things wrong. I want to help.
Sure. Well, you just said, thinking they know it all, but are there any other common mistakes maybe that young guys are making today that maybe you could just give them a quick word of advice on?
I mean, in my opinion, I always stuck with, know your audience, know your opponent, know your location. You're always going to be in different scenarios and different situations. A lot of people don't realize that, and they don't know how to adapt to different, crowds and stuff like that, and they just kind of plan out what they do A to Z, and they just go and do it, and you have to feel out the crowd and that kind of stuff. And then also just, build a character. Don't worry so much about just memorizing 1,000 things. You know what I'm saying? And then also just have respect. Know who you're in the ring with, and if know who's in your locker room. If they've been doing it longer than you, shake their hand, ask for advice, be polite. I mean, that's really it. I mean, I could go on for hours and hours thinking of stuff. But,
no, for sure.
I mean, those are things that come to the top of my head,
No, definitely. And is there anything out there maybe that surprises Robbie E in wrestling today? Is there anything that's happening that's just like it still surprises you that like, wow, I can't believe they did this? Has anything ever come up like that in the past, I don't know, a few years or so?
Yep, 1,000%. Tonight, as I record this podcast with you, I am leaving a birthday party that I was booked on a Tuesday night. I was paid a full rate, yes, I will say that, to wrestle on a birthday party. And this person ran a full wrestling show with a ring and a ring announcer and music and lights and pyro. And let me just say that again, real pyro for their son, and that's where I'm leaving right now. So I'm still kind of in shock. That's why my voice is gone. But I'm still kind of in shock at the situation that I just left. And all I say to it is, only in pro wrestling.
Wow, man, I wish I was invited to that birthday. Well, we are. I just want to, it is the biggest time of the year for any wrestling fan out there. Coming up on Mania weekend, it's more than just WrestleMania. But I mean, there's shows going on all over the place. Do you have any plans for WrestleMania weekend, or anything maybe that you love checking out on that weekend that fans should maybe be a part of?
Well, I'm actually booked out in Detroit that weekend. So I will be there for a few appearances and for a wrestling show and for a seminar and stuff. There's so much going on in New Orleans. The past few years, I think I was on shows or WrestleCon and the conventions that weekend around Mania. But this weekend, I'm actually in Detroit. And you know what? It's I'm happy about it. Sometimes it's nice to be away from all the shenanigans and the craziness. I'll stay out of trouble being far, far away in Detroit.
All right. Well, Robbie, where else can fans keep up with you today? Tell us once again about why it ended. Where can they find that once more? Or any other social media and whatnot?
Yeah, so Why It Ended is at Why It Ended, and that's the Twitter and Instagram and YouTube. And then for me, you could follow me on Instagram at Real Robbie E, and then Twitter at Robbie E Impact. And then, of course, my official website, robbie-e.com, where you can find out everything about me.
All right, perfect. Robbie E, man, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We wish you nothing but the best.
Hey, thanks, bro.
All right, guys. WrestleMania 34. This is it, guys. WrestleMania.
All 7 hours.
7 hours.
7 hours.
Starting at 5 with the pre-show and working our way on up.
I feel like I got to stretch before I watch this damn show.
These motherfuckers are going to have to pay me to watch this shit. It's such a long shift.
It's another job, guys. This is what's happening.
Here's my concern about the 7 hours. It's such a great card that I don't want to get mentally burned out for like when the good matches come on. That's just my concern.
Oh yeah. Can we all agree too on this to where it's one of those things. I mean, it's one of those things where like not everybody needs a trophy. You know what I mean? Like I feel like WrestleMania should always be the best of the best. Like, you know, fucking Daniel Bryan. I don't need Shane McMahon on the fucking show. Like Daniel Bryan's return should have been a solo match. And I don't know. I feel like everybody's got to be on the show. That's why we have these battle royals. Like everybody in the back, get on the show, kind of a thing. And that's where I think kills it. To where we don't need 7 hours for WrestleMania. I know you want to make it big and whatever, but that's where you start to kill the fans a little bit. To where now it's like it's a shift at work kind of a thing. And trust me, I love WrestleMania. I love watching wrestling. We have a wrestling podcast to talk about it. We love it. But still, just too long. Not everybody needs to be on it, right? Can we all agree that the best of the best should just be on the show?
I gotta agree. I mean, they're gonna do whatever they have to do to just cram everybody on there, though. As much as like, I think it should be the best of the best. I like one-on-one matches. I think they do too much triple threats, too much fatal four-ways. Then we're gonna have a fucking 6-pack challenge, one WrestleMania main event, and a scramble match another year. It's going to result to that because they have to do everything they possibly can to try to cram everybody in the roster on the card.
Oh yeah,
that's the problem though. When you have the amount of talent that you have, and there's so many people that the fans are cheering for that might not have a spot. I had no problem with them adding Rusev to that triple threat and now making it a fatal four-way for the U.S. title. That's somebody who should be, featured in that program in a one-on-one. But that we needed Jinder Mahal and Dolph Ziggler. Yeah, there's no question about it. So I think, they're going to have to make a decision because, again, you're talking 7 hours. Next year, they're going to want to do 8. At this point, if you're going to call it WrestleMania weekend, why don't you just have 2 separate shows?
I hear you. Have like a B show where the guys who couldn't really make the main show, and then have Mania, WrestleMania. But
yeah, absolutely. I think that's the way to go because I mean the fact that we're having a 2 or 3 hour pre-show and the cruiserweight title match is again on the fucking pre-show.
I know.
We're getting the Bludgeon Brothers on the main fucking show. That's stupid.
Here, everyone's complaining about the cruiserweight title match being on the pre-show. Here's my thing with it. It's main eventing the pre-show, so that match is going on right as the crowd is already taking their seats. So the crowd's going to actually be in attendance for this match. So they get to main event a WrestleMania, technically, allegedly, but they're main event. They're main eventing the pre-show.
Oh, so they got the
main eventing.
They got the Uso pre-show spot there, the main event of the pre-show.
It's better than opening the pre-show when there's like nobody in the crowd.
I remember back in my day, they used to have like Sunday Night Heat or something before the pay-per-view, so you had to watch it on USA. Then you'd have to watch the pay-per-views on the pay-per-view. It probably shouldn't even be called the pre-show anymore. It is all WrestleMania. We're all watching it on the network. So regardless, guys, let's get right into WrestleMania. Working our way from the bottom to the top. First and foremost, the Women's Battle Royal, formerly the Fabulous Moolah Battle Royal. Now it's the WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal. Superstars from Raw, SmackDown, and NXT will compete in the event. Now, I'm not going to name everybody, but we know who's going to be in there. Guys, at the end of the day, without getting too much into this thing, who should be the first ever Women's Battle Royal winner in WrestleMania?
Can we just not even talk about the match and just ad-lib and just ad-lib like potential renames for the fucking match?
Hold on. Can we talk about how that trophy looks like fallopian tubes? Can we discuss that, please? I
there you go.
I posted that because that's all I could see. I just see like the ovaries.
The fallopian tube battle royal, guys.
Like, it's just like, did they really did Vince pull a rib on us?
Like,
and say, I'm gonna get these motherfuckers. Yeah, you're gonna design it like fallopian tubes. Just imagine he said that to the person making the trophy, and they're like, "Oh, what?"
It looks like there's a McDonald's arch on there. What the fuck?
Oh my goodness!
Damn it!
Well, there you go.
Fallopian tubes for the women. Fallopian tubes. Damn it!
You're gonna get the fabulous moolah, but now you're gonna get fallopian tubes. So, guys, who's gonna be the winner of the first ever fallopian tube battle royal? I'm just gonna go. I mean, unfortunately, what sucks about this, I think you have Sasha Banks in here. You have Bayley. You have Becky Lynch in here. You have 3 out of the 4 horsewomen in a battle royal and not even using them in a regular match. But at the end of the day, there's got to be a winner. So let's just get right to it. If you got to pick one person to win it, I'm just going to go with my favorite. I'm going to say Natalya is going to be the first ever women's battle royal winner just because she's good for the press. Anybody else? Who do you got?
I can't pick a winner. So what I'm going to say is the only winner is the fans who need to take a piss at that particular moment in time.
For the show. There you go.
I think they only focused around 2 people, and that's Bayley and Sasha. I mean, I didn't get to bring this up last week, but they had that Saved by the Bell fight scene last week where they fought in front of the lockers like AC Slater and Zach Morris did. So it's really focusing on them 2. I'm going to go with Bayley, and that's it. That's all I could really get out of this match.
Bayley with the fallopian tubes for the win.
All right, Mike. Well, how about from one battle royal to another? The Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal is also on the kickoff show, the pre-show. But guys, before we pick a winner, I just want to go back in time when it debuted in 2014. We had Cesaro, the first ever winner. The next year we had the Big Show, then Baron Corbin, and then someone's bright idea to make Mojo Rawley the winner of last year's. So out of those 4, we come to this year. Guys, who's winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal? Mike, any insight to this?
I think you're going to have another guy from NXT win this, or like a shocker or something. I don't think they haven't really, just like the women's battle royal where they kind of just really focused on certain individuals. They just haven't focused on anybody, and they really haven't done much of a build-up. The only focus they really had was the Revival, when the Revival said they'll be the first ever tag team to win the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Other than that,
Matt Hardy
really
Woken Matt has had two strong interviews for this.
You know what?
Now
that you bring that up, you are correct, Matt. Matt Hardy is the only person that really is like pushing this thing. The Andre the Eighth, is he calling him?
Well, Bray Wyatt could return from the Lake of Reincarnation and stop him. That could be, the feud that never dies again. And Baron Corbin just won on SmackDown too, so he's going for a 2-time win. But
it was Mojo Rawley. So it was Mojo Rawley.
Mojo, gosh.
I really wish they made this special. Yeah. I really wish they added something to like make people actually want to watch this. There's nothing
like what do you win when you get it? Not just the trophy. Like my whole point too about bringing up the past winners. Nothing happened with them. You know what you win? Extra baggage in the airport. You got to carry that damn trophy around. That every time you come out to the ring after Mania, that trophy is going to be there waiting for you, and you have to stand next to it for like a month straight. Yeah. This match, someone from NXT, done. I was actually excited when Cesaro won it because I was like, wow, they're finally going to give him a push. And then like he came out on Raw the next night.
They pushed him all right into the fucking toilet.
Teasing about being a Paul Heyman guy. And then, it just went downhill from there. So, I mean, yeah, it needs like an incentive. Like, you win this, you get a future shot at the a championship or something. Just give us some. Stop with the trophies. Just give us what do you win after this, and that's all. So, I don't know. You guys say Matt Hardy.
You're just bitter over Bret Hart losing to Bad News Brown in that Battle Royal at WrestleMania 4. And then he smashed the trophy. You know who the real winner is? This one is the fans who need to take a piss during this match as well. Oh, I used that joke already. Damn.
It's the second piss break in the pre-show.
I think it's
Two
time
piss
to
breaks
move
in the
on.
pre-show.
I think it's time to move on to the main event of the pre-show.
The main event. Well, at the end of the day, I think a perfect 10 is going to win that. So I'm just going to give it to Ty Dillinger. So yeah, the main event, guys, the Cruiserweight Championship of the pre-show. The main event of the pre-show, the Cruiserweight Championship, Cedric Alexander versus Mustafa Ali. Guys, this all started when somebody got fired for somebody allegedly doing some stuff, so that we had to make a whole tournament out of this.
And never said no, bro.
Bada boom, rapist in the room. How you doing?
Whoa! Allegedly.
What's funny is that they made this whole big tournament just to have the two guys who were technically the number one contenders in a way at the end of it. So, but it was still a fun tournament to watch. But now we're back to Cedric Alexander and Mustafa Ali. Guys, who's getting the WrestleMania moment? If I'm gonna pick one, I love Cedric Alexander, but for some reason I think it's gonna go to Mustafa Ali.
I'm okay with either one it goes with. I mean, I think at the end of the day, the winner are both of them, because the both of them are getting their WrestleMania moments. They're actually getting to be able to compete on WrestleMania. And Mustafa Ali has been an absolute animal. And he cut this amazing promo about Heart and Soul, and it was on social media, and I hope they air it on 205 Live. And if you guys haven't seen it, you got to check it out. Like that, his promo alone that he cut, that they put on his Twitter, I believe, It sells the match. If you weren't really invested into this match fully, watch the promo. You're going to be invested. I'm okay with whichever guy wins this match.
I was kind of upset with how the tournament gave us these two, because it's kind of like we're back to where we started, because they had that barn burner of a match. Excuse me, right after Enzo dropped the belt, bro. And it was like the tournament was kind of pointless, you know, in the end. But I mean, it's still going to be an awesome match. I'm more worried about where do we go from here, because again, it's going to be a great match. But I mean, we got to add some beef to that roster, because we've had this tournament style bracket. The shows have been watchable and you've been invested. Are we going to go back to seeing like all these guys in fucking 6-man tags again? Like, or are we going to add some more beef to the show and make it watchable? We need some call-ups and we need some contenders. I mean, I know we built up a number one contender last week. Well, and go ahead.
What you're going from there too. I think what they're going to do too after Mania is bring in those cruiserweight tag team championships. So just to give other guys something to do on the show, since it's sad to where on Raw they would always just put them in tag team matches. They would rarely give them a one-on-one kind of a match. So I think that's what we're going to see after Mania is a cruiserweight tag team champion. So that should be interesting. Maybe give other guys something else to do while they focus around a champion.
Which is a great idea, but also, let's be honest, fucking you're gonna have to beef up the roster if you're gonna make a bunch of teams. I mean because they do that in Japan, Mike. Don't they have two sets of tag titles, like a heavyweight tag title and like a junior heavyweight?
They had the junior heavyweights and the heavyweights, and
so that's a great idea, but you need more people for that roster if you're gonna make that happen.
No, for sure. Well, it's going to be interesting, right? Needless to say, that's the pre-show, guys. That's our pre-show this weekend. Moving on to the main roster, who knows what will happen, when it will happen, but let's just work our way up from top to bottom. Now, WrestleMania is known for its surprises. Who shows up last year? The Hardys blew the roof off with their surprise entrant into their tag team championships, the Raw Tag Team Championship match, and they won the tag team championships on Raw last year. This year, we have The Bar, Sheamus and Cesaro, the champions, going into WrestleMania versus Braun Strowman and a to-be-determined tag team partner. Maybe it's just going to be Braun. I mean, we saw Brains on Raw, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's going to be somebody, or if not, nobody, but this is probably going to be the first surprise of the night. Now, my question to you guys is, who do they use? Do they use somebody on the roster now? A lot of guys are filling that, Battle Royal spot, so I don't feel like putting Elias, somebody so to say, with Braun would be surprising. You know what I mean? So I feel like it's almost got to be like a legend. Like, hell, I'll throw it out there right now. Like Hulk Hogan is Braun Strowman's partner, and they win the tag team champion. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't do anything, but Braun wins it for them. Or hell, even I'll say Neville. What if they brought Neville back just to be his tag team partner or something? You know what I mean? I don't know. But guys, if you're going to put a tag team partner with Braun Strowman this week as a surprise, who do you give the crowd to pop for?
I've heard a bunch of different names thrown out there. I've heard Rey Mysterio. We've all heard Elias. Hell, I've even heard Bray Wyatt. We're putting the band back together type of thing. I don't really care because, it'll be cool to see Braun squash somebody, and whoever gets to ride his coattails gets to ride his fucking coattails. It would just be nice to, if they had told us who his partner was going to be. I hate having to wait for a pay-per-view to see who it's going to be, or if someone's even going to show up, which we'll get into later. I hate that style of booking. I want to know what I'm paying for ahead of time.
Definitely.
Yeah. You know what? I heard the whole Rey Mysterio thing. That really won't do anything for me, honestly. Elias is busy doing the halftime show for WrestleMania, and I think that's the better choice for Elias. I heard rumblings, and this is another disappointment where I heard Big Show because he re-signed and he's supposed to be coming back.
Ugh.
And that's just going to be a stinker. Samoa Joe, I think he needs a spot. He needs something to do. I mean, he's allegedly supposed to be right in the title picture when he gets back, but I don't know, give him something. Give him something on WrestleMania. Put him in there with Strowman. Let them just kill people for a while before he moves on to the heavyweight title. No,
for sure. Guys like Elias, to where I feel like it'd be funny where he starts a show and then Kid Rock interrupts and then they do his show instead. Or I don't know about Rey Mysterio too, because I think he's still injured. Yes, they could be just pretending that he's injured just to bring this out, him at WrestleMania. Okay. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like this needs something, and if anything, it's got to be somebody, something big. It can't be like a dud. You know what I mean? We can't be like, oh, it's that guy. You know what I mean? It's I feel like it's got to be special. And hell, even if the guy just stands in the corner and does nothing, you know what I mean? It'll still be a fun match. So at the end of the day, I'm still kind of pissed that we didn't get a Bar versus the Revival for the tag team championships, or hell, another that's the thing. I don't want to see another 5-on-5, 4-on-4 tag team ladder match or whatever. Can't we just have a tag team versus a tag team? But this is what we get. A 2-on-1 handicap match, kinda, or will Braun have a partner? We'll see what happens. But that's part of WrestleMania, guys. Moving right on along from Raw Tag Team Champions to the SmackDown Tag Team Championship. Mike, what do you think about this? The Usos versus the New Day versus the Bludgeon Brothers on the main card.
The Usos breaking their own streak, making it to the main card. That's a first ever for them. So I mean, that to them, most people might not think it's a big deal, but to them it definitely is. It's the years they've spent in the company, and it's their first actual match on the WrestleMania card. The Usos and the New Day have great chemistry together. They've had nothing but great matches. They were probably one of the rivalries of the year in 2017. You add in the Bludgeon Brothers, and the Bludgeon Brothers are more of a brawler style. I mean, but I take that back. Luke Harper is actually amazing in the ring. Eric Rowan is more the brawler and not really much of a technical. But if you want to get into details of the match or get into a winner, I'm going to say the Usos are going to retain.
Tag Team of the Year, Usos got to retain. I hate the Bludgeon Brothers. I mean, I love Luke Harper. I mean, I remember the Brody Lee days. Come on, I'm that kind of mark. Mm-hmm. Eric Rowan, the upside down Sheamus. has to ride on someone's coattails to be, relevant and carry a fucking plastic sledgehammer. So please let the Usos retain. And you know what? I have a great idea for them, but we don't need to be talking about that right now. But.
No, the Usos have definitely turned the tide, if you will, from how they entered the WWE to what they're doing now, and I'm so happy that they're doing what they're doing now compared to what they gave them before, so that's really a breath of fresh air. The New Day, guys, last year they were hosting WrestleMania. They didn't even have a match at WrestleMania. So, I mean, I'm over the New Day, man. I'm over the 15 minutes of whatever they're doing still. Granted, trust me, if they had a six-man tag team championship, fine. That's fine, but... I don't know. I don't want to see them as champions anymore. They definitely need to spread this division around and make more guys relevant. We don't need the New Day as champions again. Bludgeon Brothers don't need the straps right now, and I'm with you guys. Keep the Usos as SmackDown Tag Team Champions. I think that's what we can all agree on. Moving right along on to WrestleMania 34, the United States Championship, Randy Orton versus Bobby Roode versus Jinder Mahal versus Rusev. Guys, a match that should have probably been a one-on-one match. We now get a fatal four-way. Randy Orton is the champion, just beat Bobby Roode not too long ago. At the end of the day, I don't have to get too much into it. It's Rusev Day, guys, and I want to see Rusev win the United States Championship after having to job to John Cena at WrestleMania 32 and lose the United States Championship. So I'd like to see him win it back this year's WrestleMania. Or was that WrestleMania
31?
I know.
31.
It's starting to blur. The lines are starting to blur. But yeah.
You're gonna have 75,000 plus people chanting Rusev Day.
Got to give them what they want. There.
Oh, you asking me who I think is gonna win? The fans, baby. I think this could be a show-stealing match. Not because they got to take a piss, but because I actually think this is going to be one of the better matches on the card. I mean, the second-tier titles, both those matches, including this one. I think this one could be better than Seth Rollins, Finn Balor, and The Miz and that triple threat. I think it's going to be a potential show-stealer. Rusev Day is my pick, by the way, just in case you wanted a prediction.
Well, sure. The United States Championship, not to be mistaken for the North American Championship, which we'll do on another show. But moving right along to the Intercontinental Championship, and if you don't know what that is, that's the North American and the South American champions combined into the Intercontinental Championship. History lesson, but The Miz is the champion. Now, last time I saw a WrestleMania live was WrestleMania 29, and The Miz lost his he won it back on the pre-show, I believe. Or no, he lost it. I think he lost it. But Miz, the forever Intercontinental Champion at the end of the day, is going against Seth freaking Rollins, and Finn Balor. Guys, I would have enjoyed this if it was just Seth Rollins versus Finn Balor. It doesn't need a champ match. Just these two going at it would have been great. But man, Miz has had a banner year. I mean, you give him a mic and he goes along with it. He's still great on the mic. Probably when you put him up against these two other guys in the ring, probably not as good as of a wrestler compared to Seth Rollins and Finn Balor, but that's okay. This is for the IC Championship, guys. I want to see a new champion, but who do you give it to? I think out of anybody out of this, I think putting it on Finn Balor would be good. I mean, there's the argument for Seth Rollins too, but I think both of these guys should be fighting for the Universal Championship. But I don't know, Finn Balor, since his injury, even Seth Rollins, man, I think the injury is the scarlet letter. You get like a scarlet letter every time you get injured because then they don't put you back where you were once you come back. And I mean, Seth Rollins, when he injured himself, was never touched a championship since then. And Finn Balor, since he was injured, hasn't touched anything. So between these two guys, I want to see Finn Balor. And guys, WrestleMania, can we get a Demon Finn Balor entrance, or are we just going to get Finn Balor entrance at WrestleMania? I don't know.
I think you're only getting that Finn Balor entrance. I don't think you're getting a Demon because that's something they like to fucking promote ahead of time. But you know what? You might. I mean, because I know that's one of Cologne's things that he wants to see. That awesome entrance at a WrestleMania. I mean, I know you've said that a million times. Yeah, and as you say, with the whole Seth Rollins being injured thing and not being put back up to that same spot, it's very unfortunate because he's such a talented wrestler. But I mean, if anything, the last few months have showed how great of a competitor he really is. Being in that match on Raw for well over an hour, and the match that he had with Finn Balor this week, fucking amazing. That could be another potential show stealer. I'm still putting my money on that Fatal 4-Way, though. I think that has a better mix of talent. I'm not that big of a Finn Balor guy. I just can't. It all depends who he works with. But I'm going with Seth Rollins for the win. I think The Miz is going to get some time off, maybe tug on his pecker a little bit, raise his daughter for a few, that kind of thing. I think Rollins is where it needs to be with a title. I don't think Finn Balor needs a title to be over because he's already over.
You know what? Finn Balor and Rollins was match of the night on Raw. Seth Rollins won that match. Seth Rollins won the match the week before WrestleMania. We all know how that works in the world of WWE. Booking 101. If you book strong on the go-home show, you're losing on the pay-per-view. And then when it comes to the Demon entrance, I think the WWE will drop the ball if they don't do that Demon entrance at WrestleMania. You have to. I mean, granted, they love to promote it because they want to add that anticipation, but maybe they're just going to surprise us with it and throw it out there.
Sure.
I'm going to go with Finn Balor simply because I do want to see a new champion, and it's not to take away from Miz because he's an incredible Intercontinental champion. It's just that he's going to need time off to take care of Monroe Sky. So I'm going to go with Finn Balor.
There you go. We all agree. We need that entrance. It's WrestleMania, man. This dude used to do it at every big show, and then they took it away from him. That was his thing. Give us back that thing. Give us back that. It's just it makes him. It is what it is.
Oh yeah, they're just gonna have him walk down that entrance with that leather jacket and pop up that collar every 3 steps. Fucking great. Whoever thought of that entrance should have their fucking dick cut off.
Well, there you go. So, guys, this should be... I'm going to be surprised. I think this will be one of the matches of the night, especially with the talent in that ring that night. So, the IC Championship. Who will walk out the champion? Guys, moving right along. WrestleMania 34. Are you tired yet? Do you need a piss break? There's a lot of shit happening. The Raw Women's Championship is happening. Alexa Bliss versus Nia Jax. Guys, I honestly, this would be a bathroom break for me. I mean, I don't care about Nia Jax. I don't care about Alexa Bliss to where I want to be invested in this match. Out of anything, if they need some time, this is going to be a squash match, and we're going to see Nia Jax beat Alexa Bliss in a minute or something like that. If they need some time, this is where they're going to have to save that time and make the match really quick. But I don't know. It could go either way. Guys, do you think it's Nia Jax's time to shine?
Yes. It's about time we had a big old bitch holding that belt and, establishing some dominance. Not just this, winning by hook or by crook deal. I mean, Alexa Bliss has been a great champion, but, I like to switch it up a little bit, Sometimes I want to be a bit of a chubby chaser. Sometimes I like them nice and, thin, Sometimes I like a little bit of a medium, So I'm going to go with the big girl this time around because I got no problem with that kind of thing. Goosh.
I hope that the Be a Star campaign people and the committee aren't watching the build-up for this match. This is the worst bullying I've ever seen in WWE. I mean, the shit that Alexa's saying, that shit will put some big chicks in depressions. It is the worst bullying right there.
And you know what's even worse, Mike? I hate to cut you off, but now that you say that, it's because she has Mickie James as her lackey, who really took offense to the whole Piggy James thing before.
Yes.
That's funny. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
I was gonna go there.
And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, damn, bitch. What a difference a few years makes is you were crying the blues about this a few years ago, but you're kind of okay with doing it to somebody else. It's really funny when it's not you, is it, Mickey?
Yeah,
there you
I
go.
was gonna go there too. She was complaining about it. And just like you guys, this match does nothing for me. Yeah. It really doesn't. I mean, granted, it started off fine, and then it just kind of I don't know. It just doesn't do anything for me. This is my bathroom break. This is probably the break I take when I, maybe switch it over to Walking Dead if it gives me time, or I don't know. I just can't really tolerate this match. Pre-show. This match should have been on the pre-show.
Yeah, they for a long time, it's like they've been holding off trying to put the championship around Nia Jax's waist, metaphorically speaking, but it's one of those things to where it's like they never wanted to pull the trigger on it, and they've had plenty of opportunities to make her champion before, but they haven't. I don't know, guys. A lot of championship matches happening, and I don't think everything's going to change hands. So I don't know. This one, I don't know. I don't care enough to even guess of what's going to happen. So I'm sorry, ladies, but let's move on to the main event of women's championship matches happening with Charlotte Flair versus Asuka.
Real quick though, Credo.
Sure.
I just want to, because that match, we really don't care about, and which I hate saying because I think Alexa Bliss has been a great champion. Do you think that should have been moved to the pre-show? And I would have thrown the Cruiserweight title as an opener for WrestleMania, the hot opener, to get that crowd really going.
No, for sure.
As opposed to, I don't know. That's just the way I would have seen it. There's not enough.
Well, especially
behind it.
Yeah, and like a pay-per-view like the Night of Champions, where every championship match should be on the line. Granted, that's what I think WrestleMania should always be, but now we're going to see what happens after WrestleMania, because I know that from what we understand, they're not going to be doing the co-paper. They're not going to be doing Raw pay-per-view, SmackDown pay-per-view. They're kind of going to be co-pay-per-views. But I mean, we're going to have a women's championship match, and then a women's championship match, and then you got two tag team title matches on WrestleMania. It gets to be a little bit overkill. I mean, especially maybe as a young viewer. Let's just take a kid out there who's 5 or 6. Hey, Dad, Mom, what match is this? Oh, this is for the tag team championship match. Okay. Well, Mom, Dad, what's this match for? Oh, this is for the tag team championship. But wait a minute, they just had a tag team I feel like it's overabundance. And yes, I know they have talent and whatnot, but it comes down to that in my mind, to where it's like too many of the same thing, to where it's somewhat of it. I know they need that balance of each show and whatnot, but for this, yes, I think they should have moved a women's championship match and a tag team match on the pre-show, leaving one Rumble on the main card, one Rumble on the pre-show. So it's like, if you're not buying the pay-per-view and you're kind of just watching, the pre-show to see what's going to happen at Mania, that's where you sell the kids. You get the women's match, the tag team match, and then a Rumble. You got to balance it out to where you're having both the Rumbles on the pre-show, and then you're having both the tag team and both the women matches on the main show. I don't know. It's just too much of the same thing, I think, for this year.
Yeah, real quick, too, you're talking about these co-branded pay-per-views. I don't feel like you're going to have 2 tag team title matches on the same pay-per-view. I think you're going to have either a Universal or a WWE title match, a U.S. title or an Intercontinental, and it's going to be mixed bag. I don't think you're going to see 2 of the same types of titles, fought for on the same card.
Sure.
Well, let's move on, goddammit.
Until Vince gets bored and he says, "Oh, screw it, we're going back to one title." But Charlotte Flair versus Asuka, guys. I think WrestleMania is also shock season in Vince McMahon's mindset. So, not saying I'm racist, and I'm not saying I want the Japanese to lose, but I think if you're going to go for a shock value out of any part of the night, this is where the shock happens and Asuka loses. Keep in mind, somebody also has a Money in the Bank briefcase to cash in, and I think that's another shock value that could happen whether Charlotte or Asuka wins. Just saying, guys, what do you think about this match? This is I'm excited for this match because there's a lot of things that could happen.
I think this has been the match that I've been looking forward to the most on the card. It's something we haven't seen. It's a dream match of sorts, and again, it really can go either way. And I think either storyline would be great. I don't have a problem with this whole streak the way these marks do, because should Asuka win the title, then it's whoever beats her not only takes her streak, but takes her belt. And that makes it that much bigger of a deal. That next girl who's going to, come up and do it. And who knows, maybe you bring up what's-her-face from NXT, Ember Moon, and she finally does do it. down the road. There's just so many ways but again, this is the match I've been looking forward to the most. I cannot wait. And I want to preface this by saying the only reason Credo is saying that he's not racist against the Japanese. We had a listener etch a Guinness glass. So they had the Guinness people come in at a local bar down in Pauling, and he had a glass etched that said Credo hates Japs. And
oh my goodness,
Credo's. What can I do to get that glass off him? I don't want people to know that. I don't want people to see my name and think that I'm racist. But Credo,
I thought it was for me. I was like, oh, thanks, Scooter. You got me a glass that says.
I didn't do it. This is one of the listeners. He just tweeted me this picture. It just said Credo hates Japs, and I'm like, wow, we got some fans who really see things the way I do, Credo.
Well, at least let me get a drink with you out there. I got to see the glass, but yeah. I'm
Shapiro, God damn it!
I'm turning a new leaf, guys. I love Japanese now. Sorry, so that glass now is irrelevant. Anyway.
All right. Well, here we go. Well, this match I am also looking forward to. First of all, is anybody realizing how poor of a general manager Kurt Angle is? Because does he not realize that his number one female on his brand is going over the SmackDown to challenge their champion, and if she possibly wins, then she's not bringing the title over the Raw. She's staying on SmackDown. So it's like, I don't know. I'm nitpicking here. Let me get back on track. This is the match that I am actually looking forward to, one of the matches, and with the rumors going around that they want to build the streak till next year for Ronda, I think that Asuka's going to win. I think it's not going to be easy for Asuka, but I do think Asuka wins.
Yeah. Well, guys,
so Credo hates Japs and Mike hates gold medalists. Great.
Well, I don't hate gold medalists. That's not. It doesn't fall in the terms of how Credo feels about Japs.
Hey! I have nothing. It's against streaks, but we haven't gotten to the Shinsuke match yet, so we'll see what happens then. But no, in all seriousness, Charlotte Flair, Asuka. Guys, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things to where I feel like that's the shock moment where Asuka loses. But guys, what do you feel about the Money in the Bank briefcase lingering in the back? Do you think it plays into effect either at Mania or the SmackDown after Mania? Do you think they would cash it in now? Because, I mean, we're going to be at Money in the Bank in a few months, too. It's going to be right around the corner. She's almost held the damn briefcase for a year.
Superstar shakeup. I think either Carmella is either going to end up on Raw, or, you know what? I have a feeling if she's going to cash in at WrestleMania, she's going to do it on an Alexa Bliss or Nia Jax and try to, come from behind and, sneak attack or something, man. I think that's the better move. I can't see her. I can't see Asuka losing to a Charlotte, and then that belt, that briefcase being cashed in. That would just be stupid. And it would be stupid for Asuka to win it only to lose it to Carmella in the same night. Again, it's just. Yeah. There's no waste of a streak.
You brought that up a couple weeks ago, and I think, we look at this Raw title match, the women's title match, how it does nothing for me. I think that actually adds something to it if Carmella just jumps over and just cashes in on the Raw women's champion. I think that's the only way where you add some intrigue to that women's match. So, and then like you said, it's not believable if Carmella cashes in on a Charlotte or she cashes in on Asuka. It just, for me, it's just not believable. I don't, and this is not knocking Carmella, but she's just not in the league of these two women. It really isn't.
All right. Well, it's still lingering back there. We'll see what happens with it.
You're trying to find every way for Asuka not to have that title.
See, exactly. I told you he's racist.
There you go. The cash-in that's happening. From shock value to another. I don't know, another guy who had another shock moment at WrestleMania. Now, this hasn't been announced. People say it would have been announced this week, but it hasn't. The Undertaker versus John Cena, not official, but guys, I mean, we're old enough to realize that this is pretty much going to happen. You wouldn't be talking about it and wasting precious TV time every week if you're not going to do anything with this. It is pro wrestling. So, guys, how do we get to this match? I think this is probably the worst booking ever for a match at Mania, to where you're not even announcing the match. Yes, that's another, they never announced it, so now it's happening. And how do you do this? Like, how does John Cena come out at Mania and say one last time? Or do they announce it on the pre-show, and then, the anchors have to kind of sell the match? Or, like, how do you get to this match, and what happens? I mean, Undertaker versus John Cena, what's happening with this match? Because it's been the most bizarre booking I ever thought, to where I'm used to seeing a lot of guys cut promos for WrestleMania to cover for Taker, but it's a little too much, no?
I would have loved to have seen him come down as the American Badass and talk to John Cena like a man, and not this dead man character. I mean, I think he's past that point where he needs that character for the fans to be behind him. I think they'd get even more behind him as the badass at this point in his career. That being said, you missed an opportunity for an awesome build-up. John Cena did the best he could building this potential matchup. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, no skin off my ass. I think that if it does happen, though, it's going to be way better than what Roman Reigns gave him last year. And I think John Cena could get better out of him. And whoever wins, I really don't have a problem with. Like John said, two old-timers going at it at WrestleMania, and that's all it's about.
How pissed off would the world be if Taker just didn't show up? How pissed off would the world be? The guy just had hip surgery last year. That guy's not going to be able to move like he used to do. He's not. I mean, we all know how much of a stinker that Roman match was. The guy, like I said, the guy had hip surgery after that match. What makes us think that this match is going to be just as good? I don't see Taker looking good at all, being 50. Was he 54, 53? Might be a little older or younger than that. But what if the lights go out when Cena's in the ring, lights come back on, and Samoa Joe is standing behind him and chokes him out and says, "Here's your match," and that happens? Like, they throw an audible out there because Taker can't go. I mean, granted, the world will be pissed off because you built up this entire time with Taker and you're not getting Taker. If they went that route, I'd be fine with it. It would swerve the shit out of me, but they're not going to go that route because they wouldn't waste this much time. Then again, they're the WWE, so we don't know what they're going to pull. I mean, I would rather. I mean, I was okay. I was actually into this build-up. And I actually kind of liked how they did where Taker just didn't show. I would like to see the American Badass, but I think if they were going to do the American Badass character, they should have just had pulled the trigger on it already. And just, because we got a lot of casual fans that only know the Dead Man. They don't know the American Badass. So if he shows up at WrestleMania as the American Badass, people are going to be fucking confused. Yeah. I mean, the older fans like us will know exactly who that character is, but when you got these new millennial casual fans, all they know is the Dead Man. They don't know Mark Calloway, the American Badass. So, I mean, and honestly, if Taker is there, I kind of see Taker winning.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I do.
Well, what about this? It's the most bizarre booking for WrestleMania, I feel, to where just Cena calling him out, nothing. And what, how do you get there at WrestleMania? But then I feel like there has to be a stipulation added at last minute. It's almost like a loser leave town match, to where even if they do have this match, which is going to happen, you have Taker versus Cena. Is he really going to be in any shape to do anything again next year? Like, you're really, dragging this out too much, to where I feel like there's got to be something added last minute saying, loser leave town, to where if Cena does win, that's the last time we see Taker. Or I don't know. It's bizarre to me how they even book this match, to where every year I feel like Taker's opponents have to carry the whole thing. But yeah, we'll see what happens, I guess. But Dead Man Walking. Guys, one of the biggest surprises in the past few weeks is Daniel Bryan being medically cleared to wrestle, and let alone now he's at WrestleMania. So Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. If Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens lose, they will be officially they won't be able to return to SmackDown. They're gone. So that just smells that they're going to Raw to me. But at the same time, if they win, they go back to SmackDown. I don't know. Daniel Bryan's return match, do we have him lose in front of that amount of people? Shane McMahon has not won a Mania match since returning. I believe he lost to AJ, right? No, he beat.
Yep.
And he lost
to AJ.
He lost to Taker, and so maybe they have to give him a win for his kids at this year's WrestleMania, because he's with Daniel Bryan. So poor Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. But guys, are you looking forward to this match? I think everybody kind of wants to see where Daniel Bryan is after 3 years of being semi-retired.
I think Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn win, and this thought just popped in my head, especially watching SmackDown. I feel like everyone's going to be all excited for this Daniel Bryan return, and everyone's going to love it, but I think Daniel Bryan's going to turn heel. Ooh. He's going to turn on Shane.
Can you imagine?
No, imagine that. Imagine that WrestleMania moment. Everyone's all excited, and all of a sudden Daniel Bryan turns heel and turns on Shane, and he helps Kevin and Sami get their jobs back.
What a faction that would be, though, too.
Yeah, he keeps stating how they were friends for 15 plus years, and they did everything. And just imagine that. I mean, I would actually be into that. I really would.
Wow. Yeah, that would be pretty fucking sweet. You know what? I didn't really think of that, but now that you bring it up, it would make sense. Either way, I think that's going to be an awesome match. And like I said last week, I think Shane starts off that match. It is going to be the hottest tag in wrestling history, because I think they're just going to milk it and milk it and milk it. Shane's just going to get the shit beat out of him. So again, we made that joke where we could protect Daniel Bryan in a tag match, but the king of the rapid punches you worry about. But when you think about it, all Shane's got to do is get the shit beat out of him while Daniel stands there until he gets in for a hot tag. So in essence, it don't matter if you got bad rapid punches or not. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're just sitting there getting your ass whooped. So that crowd is going to go absolutely ballistic. But even funnier, Mike, think of it this way. What if you're right, you're waiting, and you're going to get that hot tag, and Shane reaches, and Bryan's reaching, and then as Shane jumps to go for the tab, Bryan just kind of jumps off the apron and walks away. We don't even get to see him wrestle. That would be amazing.
Imagine the crowd on that one.
You built the perfect story for that to happen. I mean, Daniel and Shane, they've been going neck to neck with each other. I mean, they've been down each other's throats with issues with everything, of how he's running SmackDown, how he's doing this. I mean, it's possible they might go that route. I mean, because I don't see Sami Zayn or Kevin Owens going to Raw. I think they belong on SmackDown, especially a guy like Kevin Owens, who I think needs to go after the WB title after WrestleMania, because that would be the ultimate fuck you to the Authority, with him being a number one contender and possibly being the champion. That would be like, like I brought up before, like the whole storyline down in Ring of Honor with the Jim Cornette running Ring of Honor and Kevin Steen taking over, and that, I think that's the perfect way to go.
And this is what I love about WrestleMania. It keeps you guessing. I mean, could we get a Daniel Bryan heel turn? Could we get a Shane McMahon heel turn where he says just fuck you and just rides off into the sunset kind of thing and leaves SmackDown? Anything could happen, but I'll tell you what, I can't wait to see how many thousands plus people doing the yes chant again. So that'll be interesting. And this is the same place where Daniel Bryan won the 2 matches in one night at WrestleMania 30. So, wow, what a return for him at WrestleMania 34. But guys, we're all here. This is what we're here for. Ronda Rousey, right? Ronda Rousey and Kurt Angle versus Stephanie McMahon in her first ever WrestleMania match against Ronda Rousey in her first ever WrestleMania match and Triple H. A mixed match challenge match at WrestleMania. There's got to be only one way this happens, and I think it's going to be a Ronda Rousey victory. Do we get that, or I think that's the most educated guess we can give Ronda her first win at WrestleMania.
You know what? I think Ronda is going to win simply because ESPN and everything. All these outside media outlets are going to be watching this match. All the people that don't watch wrestling are subscribing to the network or illegally streaming this event simply for that match in particular. They don't care about AJ and Nakamura because they don't know these people. They just know who Ronda Rousey is. Yep. So that's going to be the winner. Ronda had a good quote on Monday where she asked which hand, if Stephanie is a righty or a lefty, because she wants to know which hand she could still sign her paychecks with.
Yep.
I thought that was clever. I thought that was good. That was one of Ronda's, if not the best line she's ever threw out there. Other than that,
she also fucked it up, Mike.
No, she didn't fuck it up. She just paused and no.
She said it too soon. She didn't let her.
She said it too soon. Okay, but it was a good line. The delivery was good. She didn't need to add in the "I'm gonna rip your other hand off." Like the way she did it, like the delivery was good as she left it as is. With that, because the fans understood what she was talking about. She didn't have to go too much into detail. So yeah, but it was still. I thought it was clever. Other than that. I mean, I don't know what to expect with this match. I really don't.
I'll tell you what, though. Let's just say I think Kurt Angle was listening to me because I see Stephanie walk out, and she looks like she's ready. She's in some pretty damn good looking shape, man. Stephanie, Triple H, he's going to come prepared. Kurt didn't seem so pudgy this week. Did we get him some water pills or something? I don't know. Is he on some diuretics or something? I don't know what the fuck. Because he looked a little bit slimmer this week. Maybe he did some late night runs on that treadmill. I don't know. It was.
You know what I don't think the WB trusts Kurt Angle to cut promos anymore. Because I really wanted to see one of those old school Kurt Angle passionate promos to kind of just add more to this match. And we haven't gotten that. And the promos that we've been getting from him, he's been stumbling all over everything. It's Ronda freaking Rousey. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just so bad. And, like, the best thing is, like, Triple H is, like, poking fun at him during that press conference thing they were having, which was pretty good. I wanted to see something from Kurt Angle, and I just saw that dumb, confused look on his face that he always has. And just loses his train of thought midway sentence. He
can't even say WWE.
WWE.
Now, guys, this is kind of a callback to WrestleMania 31, where they had the incident between Ronda Rousey and The Rock, along with Stephanie and Triple H, when that whole thing took place. So, a few years ago. But do you think this match would have been different if it would have been The Rock and Ronda Rousey versus Stephanie McMahon and Triple H?
Don't rule it out. Your boy might just show up just for the goof.
I think The Rock shows up during the Elias segment because The Rock is known to play the guitar.
Concert. Hell yeah!
Rock concert. Yeah, but did anybody else catch Kurt Angle call Ronda Rowdy? And he fucked up her last name. He's like, "I'm here with Ronda Rowdy, or Rowdy."
And we're gonna have a new GM Monday.
He always fucks up someone's name somehow.
Too many moonsaults off the top rope, dude.
Yeah, anytime, and it happens once every Monday that he messes up somebody's last name or first name. Just pay attention to what he says, ladies and gentlemen. Every time he's on TV, he's going to fuck up a name somehow.
Well, there you go. Guys, moving right along to the last, hopefully, 2 matches of the evening. The WWE Championship match. First up, AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Fans were scared for a while that, this was a tease, that somehow this was going to change after the Rumble in some kind of match. But no, we're actually getting AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. They had a rivalry in New Japan Pro Wrestling. But now they're here at WrestleMania on the grandest stage of them all. Guys, are you excited for this match? And could it possibly steal the show, as many other matches could possibly steal the show? But I don't know. Are we going to see a different Shinsuke Nakamura than what they're kind of giving us now from the artist? I don't know. I'm excited. I'm excited to see these two at it again. What are we going to get?
What I'm excited for karma, because you're starting to sound like you're Japanese because you can't even pronounce a word that starts with R.
A rivalry.
There you go. Yeah, you're starting to sound like Shinsuke Nakamura. All that hatred is starting to come
I love
outward.
Shinsuke.
Yeah.
I love the entrance. I can't wait. I've turned over a new leaf, Cooter.
All right. Back to business. You know what? This is one of these matches where you kind of have a feeling that Nakamura is going to win. I really kind of hope AJ retains the title on this one, kind of avenges that loss he had from Nakamura over in Japan, and then maybe keeps this rivalry going a little bit. I think I'd like to see how this match ends up and maybe take it from there. I mean, I don't think this is going to be the last time these two have a significant match in WWE, but we got to start somewhere. Might as well be at WrestleMania.
I like how they've been building this match, and AJ said a quote on SmackDown. He said, "This ain't the Tokyo Dome. This is the Superdome." And that, so they're kind of referencing to the match they had in the Tokyo Dome. I really think this is going to be the match of the night. I've been looking forward to this match. I think these guys are going to kill it. AJ Styles is coming out as champion still, in my opinion. I love Nakamura. I just don't think Vince wants to put it on Nakamura.
No.
I really don't. I don't. But I know they have to give these guys a good 20 to 25 minutes to just go out there and just kill each other. I want to see that strong style. Like, I know Nakamura can work that strong style that he worked with Sami Zayn in his debut in NXT, and AJ Styles is known for working that strong style as well. And AJ Styles, one of the best wrestlers on the planet, will do an amazing job selling that strong style. And Nakamura, AJ's going to bring the best out of Nakamura. There's something that we haven't seen on the main roster yet. So this match steals WrestleMania altogether, in my opinion.
Now, you know what's funny? You said that you like the way that this storyline has been built up. How is that with Nakamura going, "I'm gonna be your WrestleMania"? Every fucking week.
Who's the racist now?
Yeah.
I'm not being racist. I'm quoting Nakamura. He's just been saying one sentence over and over and over. Here's a little something off topic. You know what we haven't seen AJ Styles do since he's been in WWE? He hasn't gone for that Spinal Tap move. I used to love that when he did that in TNA, huh?
They banned it.
Who banned it?
WWE, they banned that move.
The Spinal Tap.
Yep.
Why?
Just
dangerous.
We have 450s. We have fucking shooting star presses, Phoenix splashes, the whole 9 yards. But Spinal Tap. We have a Swanton bomb. We can't do a Spinal Tap.
Well, with this match, though, out of all the championship matches, it's once again, I feel like it's... I don't see the titles changing hands. I think, like AJ Styles goes in winner, comes out winner. It's one of those things to where it's too soon maybe for him. Shinsuke, I mean, let's go back. Shinsuke lost clean to Jinder Mahal a few months ago. That's, he could have won the championship back then, and that didn't happen. So they had more confidence in Jinder than Shinsuke. But, I mean, this is WrestleMania. The game has changed. I don't know. I don't see Shinsuke as champion, but if he does walk out of WrestleMania as champion, a rematch with AJ is awesome. A Kevin Owens versus Shinsuke match would be awesome. A Daniel Bryan versus Shinsuke match would be awesome. There's a lot of unique matchups we can get out of a Shinsuke Nakamura championship reign. So either way, I mean, I'm not going to be mad if he wins. I'm not going to be happy or anything. I don't see it happening, though. That's what I'm trying to get to say. But AJ Styles, I think, is going to walk out at the end of the day. But hey, at the end of the day, all the fans are going to walk out happy after this match. It's definitely worth it. And hopefully it goes on last, because Roman Reigns, for the past 4 years, has gotten to main event WrestleMania. Are we going to go to that again? Or are we just going to get this match done early on in the evening, in the middle of the 3-hour mark or something? But moving right along to the final match of the night, guys. I know we talked your ear off tonight, but thank you for sticking around. WrestleMania 34, guys, the Universal Championship. Brock Lesnar has held the championship for over 365 days versus Roman Reigns, guys. Roman Reigns. Is this just inevitable? I mean, if you put this on at the last match, I mean, are people walking out early? I mean, you got those fans that just, no, we're done. We just, this is it. But I had to work our way from the bottom to the top to get to here, and this is where we're at now. So where do you put this match on the card, first and foremost? And second, is it just obvious that Roman Reigns is going to walk out Universal Champion? Because, hell, I would take another surprise of Brock Lesnar retaining it. That would put a lot of happy faces on that crowd that night. So, I don't know. Guys, what's happening with this match?
I don't care.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. This is the match that, I shit on, I did not care for. And I still don't think it's going to be a great match. I mean, granted, they had a really good hard-hitting, in-your-face match at WrestleMania 31. I think they're going to have a hard-hitting, intense match at WrestleMania 34. They did a decent job, and I'm going to go on record and say this because I was the one that was against this match, and I think they did a okay job. It wasn't the best build-up, but they did a good job bringing reality, art imitating reality and everything with the contracts and how Lesnar's this part-timer trying to get all these extra perks and all this stuff. I just don't think that Roman Reigns was the guy that was supposed to be the antagonist against Lesnar when it came to that argument. Because in reality, he is Vince's boy. This match closes Mania. Holy shit. Just rewind back 4 years ago, WrestleMania 30 in the same building, Daniel Bryan closing WrestleMania, and you had 75,000 plus people chanting yes. Now fast forward to WrestleMania 34, and you have Roman Reigns holding up the Universal title. We're not going to get that moment that we wanted.
Go back, though, to WrestleMania 31, because this was the match, well, not for the Universal Championship or whatnot, but it was Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns, and the fans had such outrage that we were kind of saved by a Seth Rollins cash in that night.
They had to do it that night.
Yeah.
They had to, because either way, whoever won that match, the fans were just completely against it.
Yep.
So they had to have that out. I don't think they had, if they close the show, I don't think they have a legit out. I mean, the rumor is that Samoa Joe is supposed to be the next contender. And I keep throwing Samoa Joe's name out here because me as a fan, I want to see him make some type of impact on this card somehow. If they close out this show and Roman Reigns is holding that title, I really hope Samoa Joe just comes out there and beats the living shit out of Roman Reigns and closes WrestleMania out with that moment. And that the fans will love it.
Mike, how about this idea? WrestleMania 9. It was Yokozuna versus Bret Hart. Yokozuna won. Hulk Hogan comes down to the ring, and then Bret's like, you fight, and it was just and Hulk Hogan won the championship.
The Hulk Hogan ego trip.
That's a WrestleMania, that was a crazy night, but we haven't seen anything like that quite. I mean, it's been many years like that, but hey, could Samoa Joe come out and challenge somebody? I mean, anything could happen. It's WrestleMania, but that's making me think.
You bring that up now. We don't know what Lesnar. He's allegedly supposed to go back to the UFC. That's the rumor. He's not going to resign allegedly. What if he actually does beat Roman and just flat out, and then pretty much says he's not done yet, and he calls out somebody, and somebody answers the challenge and beats him for the title, and that's how you close out Mania. I mean, who would that person be? And would you guys be invested into that type of a closing like that? Just like WrestleMania, surprise.
I'm telling you, you need that shock value. You need something like that. To whether it's an Oscar streak, losing, or Daniel Bryan heel turn, or out of all these matches that we talked about tonight, where does that shock moment come out of this Mania? And I think, something with this match again, because it's once again, like, you can't close it on this match because you know what the fans are going to do. You know that they're booing Roman Reigns. I don't care how many cheers you try to pump through on a mic or, audio or whatever, but the fans just want to boo him, man. They're like John Cena. They just want to boo him. Not to the extent of John Cena, though, but still, it's one of those things to where you close the show on that, you're going to close it on boos. And so you need to do something. And if this is the last match of the night, something's got to happen. Either a Brock Lesnar win or, like a surprise WrestleMania 9 challenge kind of a thing. Something. So it's going to be interesting. But guys, WrestleMania, that's WrestleMania 34.
I didn't want to talk about this match. You know what? I'm going to say this. Brock needs to win this. Roman Reigns, I can't do it. I don't want to be. I don't want the show to close that way. I'm kind of upset with Michael for this too, because I remember when they had that fucking build up for their last match. You were so into it because you liked the way they were building it up, and I refused to get sucked in. And here you are again. You might not be sucked in, but you're trying to find a way to get sucked in this match. Like
I learned.
You have faith. You have hope that something is going to save you. Where for months, all you've heard from Mike is, I've accepted the fact that
I've accepted it. What is the argument here? I've accepted it.
The argument is you're still trying. There's this
I'm trying
hope where you're like, maybe something else is going to happen. Because
I have to, because I don't care for Roman Reigns winning. So I'm trying to exceed my expectations with this match. Like this is what they're giving me for WrestleMania. I'm going to watch
right now, and you're gonna fucking, you're just gonna fuck it all up, bro. You don't edge yourself for too long. Eventually, nuts might explode.
I'm just saying, I don't understand your argument because it makes no sense. Because I am trying, I have accepted it. This is WrestleMania. I'm going to tune in regardless.
I know.
I'm going to try to dispense my own belief and just hope that the match is closing WrestleMania, because they're penciled in to close the fucking show, is going to actually give us something that's worth staying that 20 minutes extra after midnight to watch this damn match. Okay, I want to make myself believe that there's something about this match that's going to keep me invested into this fucking match. So yes, I am going to dispense my own belief, because on paper this match is going to suck.
Well, there you go.
I just had to get you angry for, I like getting him angry because sometimes it's funnier than when I get angry.
Cooter.
I just like to stir the shit a little bit. That's why I wasn't even going to talk about this fucking match. But I'm like, you know what? Let me crunch his nuts up a little bit. That was fucking great.
That's why I'm hoping that something like a call out happens. Like, what if Lesnar does win this match? That's a shock value because people think he's going to drop the title. Exactly. And then Paul Heyman gets on the mic and pretty much puts out an open challenge because Lesnar ain't done yet. Lesnar wants to eat. The beast is hungry. And then somebody comes out, and takes on the
James
challenge.
Ellsworth.
Oh my God! Let's end the show now. Show's done, guys. Thank you so much. WrestleMania 34 is happening. Hey, if something doesn't happen the way we want it to this weekend, we're gonna hold on to that hope for the Raw after WrestleMania, and then the SmackDown after WrestleMania. So tune in next week where we talk about the aftermath of WrestleMania. Guys,
I understand how much I have to piss so bad right now.
Sorry, guys, we didn't have a bathroom break during this.
I gotta take a shit, bro.
Show.
We gotta start taking bathroom and smoke breaks because I need a cigarette and I gotta take a shit in the worst way.
We needed to do an intermission, and I think WrestleMania needs to do an intermission. You know how when people go to the drive-in,
they used to do that too. Remember
the little the box of popcorn and the box of the candy, and they're like, let's all go to the lobby, let's all go, something. Oh my God, I'm driving myself nuts with this shit.
They used to do that, Mike. They used to have the countdown, a 20-minute countdown.
Yeah, back in the day. We'll never see that again. We'll never see that again. They should just have a countdown clock. Go take your piss now.
Here's where you go. We have enough time for you to pee, take a dump, and wipe half of your ass.
Oh.
I just kind of hope that. There you go.
And they would like when they got to like 2 minutes on the countdown, they would just start showing like pre-recorded promos like that, and then they would just go right back to the show. We'll never see that again. That's why I'm going to pick and choose my bathroom breaks. I already have a match in mind. That's the Alexa Bliss Nia Jax match.
We got the Kid Rock concert coming up. We got a lot of stuff happening, guys. It's
know, Vince would make a lot of money if he would make WrestleMania colostomy bags.
Don't leave the seats when you can shit on yourself.
Up your colostomy bag so you can take a shit and you won't have to worry about it.
Bedpan.
A catheter? Yeah, oh God, the WrestleMania bedpan or the WrestleMania catheter and colostomy bag. It would be great.
Well, we're talking about pissing, and I really have to piss.
Well, I got a question for you.
Wrap up this show.
Does
so
anyone
I can
think that
piss.
Matt Riddle is going to survive WrestleMania weekend? He's got to be the most booked guy in the fucking world. How many matches did he have this weekend?
That was last week.
I know. I'm just trying to make Mike hold his dick a little bit longer. All right, guys. Have a good night. Peace.
All right, guys. See you next week.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves.
Go fuck yourself.